All right, I think, testing, okay. All right, I think we are about ready to start. A few more maybe coming in, we'll let them come on in. Let me first say thank you for coming tonight. I wanted to talk to you all tonight. I know the media is here. I will say I've not had any comment to them because I wanted to kind of respect you all and talk to you all first, so you didn't just hear some of it on the street or whatever. But I will say this too, I've got a couple of people sitting over here, Ms. Talley and Ms. Stevenson, taking notes, just so that when we leave tonight, we will be able to look back over it and go back over our decision and what we want to do going forward after tonight. I want to make sure we don't miss anything that's said tonight because I basically want to go over a few things with you that how we got to this decision, and then I want to listen to your concerns and let you speak. I don't know if we have a spokesperson or how we want to do that, but we can work through that. I want to hear what you have to say. I'll start off by saying I talked to Ms. Nutt a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to let her know what the decision was, and we tried to do this early in the year rather than waiting until the middle of the spring or something to say anything. But I met with her out of respect for her because I know she's put a lot of work and time into this program, and then I wanted her to be able to talk to the teachers, and then we wanted to send notes home to parents. I do understand that it didn't quite go in all of that perfect order. How we communicate things, we try to do the best we can, but sometimes it gets out on social media and different things before we've ever even sent a note home or anything. So for that, if that's how you found out, I apologize for that, but we were trying to do the best we could with that. We live and we learn. Maybe looking back on it, there's a better way to do it. And we will certainly work on that going forward. So a lot of this started last year. When I took over as superintendent in January, Dr. Brumley, our state superintendent, called me and asked us to be one of 10 districts to go through a strategic plan to look at what programs we have, what we're doing in every school, how we're spending our money, and try to help us come up with a 5-year strategic plan to serve all of our kids to the best of our abilities, make sure we're using our resources to the best of our ability, and that, so we started that process in February. There was a team from the central office, including myself, assistant superintendents, academics, human resources, federal programs, finance. We're all on a team that went through that. We looked at all of our programs in all of our schools. We worked with a company, Attune, that did that with us. They had a team of people working and looking at all of that. We looked at our programs and we tried to strategically figure out which ones had the most impact on kids all over the district, which ones could we prioritize to keep, which ones did we need to adjust, or could we do it differently, or what we needed to do going forward. Out of that, we've looked at our demographics in schools. We knew that we had a growing Hispanic population here, and it's a subgroup that has traditionally struggled in school, so that was part of the discussion, looking at those kids, which led to us to looking at immersion. And part of our discussion in that was, why French? Why not Spanish? So from there, we started looking into what we were doing in the program and how it was working for us. We looked at numbers from the program. We started out, I know this program, this is the 4th year for it. We had 30 kids start in pre-K. Come on in. In pre-K, out of that 30, there's 24 students in it in 2nd grade right now, but 15 of them are from the original group that started. So we've lost about half of those. We've added some more as we've gone, though. And then the 2nd group had 33 in pre-K. That group's down to 20, and 11 of them being from the original group that started. And then the 3rd class started out with 17, dropped to 14, but we've added 8 new ones back So we're up to 22, but there's 14 from the original in that class. So it was concerning a little bit that every year we went along, we're getting fewer and fewer. Kids are dropping out as we went. So that was a concern for us. That was something we looked at. That was a red flag. We next looked at kind of the finances. I've been asked, why would we cut a program that's fully financed through a grant? We do get some grant money for it, but it doesn't fully finance it. We do get $20,000 per immersion teacher. We have 3 right now, so that's $60,000. It runs a year behind, so we pay it and then we get reimbursed for it. And then also our immersion teachers get some living expenses money, $6,000 the first year, $4,000 the second, and $4,000 the third. We get reimbursed for that as we go. This year we started out with 3 extra teachers here at Glenview that we would not normally have if we didn't have immersion. Once we got the school year started, we realized we needed an extra teacher or 2 at Glenview because of the sheer numbers in kindergarten. So we pulled one of those teachers, and we had our ELA teacher here that does that helps with the immersion, do kindergarten first, and then the other one does 2nd grade. Those are 2 teachers that would not normally be hired here at Glenview. Using our staffing ratios and things of how we staff schools, that would not normally be here. We've used Title I funds for supplies, sending teachers to conferences, travel, and then some stipend pay. It is out of Title I. It could be used for this. It could be used for something else. Okay, so that's an extra expense. Right now, we've figured this to cost about $175,000 this year, extra. Over what we get from the grant, counting the teachers, some of the supplies, some of the other things that we provide. That totals out to about $2,500 extra per kid in immersion, because there's 66 of them in it right now. That's on top of the regular teachers that we would normally have and the expenses. The next thing we looked at was 3rd grade, moving language immersion to 3rd grade. When we get to 3rd grade, that's a testing grade. So we would have a language immersion teacher new coming in that would teach math, science, and social studies. They would be coming here new, learning our standards, learning our curriculum we're using, all of those things, and then teaching those 3. As our schedule is right now, whether it be at Cypress Springs or Ruston Elementary, we have 3 teacher rotation, or we have a 2 where we teach, 1 teacher teaches math, 1 teaches science and social studies, 1 teaches ELA. Or if we use the 2, it's math and science, and the other one teaches social studies and ELA. With the immersion program, and with it needing to be 60% in French, we're going to have if we continue on, we're going to have to tweak that and figure out how to do that, and probably add another teacher there to do the ELA part. That was a concern for us, trying to figure out that. We could make it work if we needed to, but it's going to be another added expense as we go. Also, as we move up a new grade, we're creating curriculum there. We're translating that some over for these kids, for those teachers. We're bringing them up to date with the standards. So that was a concern for us moving forward, especially when we start testing, state testing in 3rd grade. Another thing is, when we started this program, the state did not have, as a part of our grade in an elementary schools, junior high, through K through 8, an interest and opportunities component to our school performance scores. Basically, right now, schools we've had a hold harmless for the last 2 years, so if you did it, it could help you, but if you didn't, it wasn't going to hurt you. That starts in 22-23. That starts for real, as you want to say, but it starts counting. There's no hold harmless anymore. It counts for the school score. That is, do we offer PE? Do we art, music, world language? Right now, we're only offering world language here to the 66 kids that are in language immersion, French immersion here. We looked at if we want to expand this, or if we want to get more kids involved and give our schools that opportunity to get the interesting opportunities, could we do French, Spanish, a foreign language as an auxiliary class to where every kid got 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour a week like we do in art and music. That would service more kids, that would expose more kids. I do understand that that is not becoming fluent totally in the language, but it would expose all of our kids around the district in a foreign language. And then just to give you an example, we looked kind of at our STEM program that we have going right now. We got a grant from Project Lead the Way, so we're doing that within some of our science classes, and every school's gotten part of that grant, and we're expanding that. We have a STEM center that we're taking kids every week over to, and we've rotated that around to where every kid in the district, especially K through 5, will get to go over there 3 to 4 times during the year. That'll be 2,500 kids going in and out of there 3 to 4 times a year, getting that. Plus, we're training teachers to go along with the science curriculum in the Project Lead the Way, which will help with interest and opportunities, and that's going on here, Cypress Springs, Ruston Elementary, Hillcrest, Simsboro, Dubach, and Shudrint. All of them are getting that. That's what we would like to see, some form of that, to where we could expand it to more kids, we could involve more kids, and expose them to the foreign language. Those, in short, are the things that we've looked at and help what our team came to the conclusion that we needed to look to try to do language arts in a different form if we could, but we did not feel like continuing the French immersion was the best option for us. It's like I've talked to Ms. Nutt about, if we were doing Spanish immersion where we could include more kids and maybe have a two-way going with that, or some things like that, that would be more advantageous for us, but there's also challenges with that, with getting Spanish teachers that could come and do that for us, and some of the cultural differences there. I don't know that we're going to get to a final decision tonight, but I've looked at some options, some compromise. Can we do something different? I just jotted down a couple of things. Can we switch to Spanish instead of French to include more kids and involve more around the district? I'm not sure we can. Can we move it to an auxiliary class to where we expand it to more kids all over the district? And do we do that in Spanish, or do we do that in French? Do we just keep the program going in K1 and 2, and then after 2nd grade, end it and let kids go on to 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade? Do we continue on with the kids we have in it all the way to 5th grade and just phase it out as we move along, and don't start kindergarten, don't start 1st, and don't start 2nd? And when these kids are all finished, then we transition to something different. Those are some options that I've looked at. I'm more than willing to listen to what you all have to say tonight. I will say it's not been an easy decision. It's not something I took lightly. I wanted you to know that we've spent a lot of time looking at it. It's not one thing that we said. It's not just a financial thing. It's not just this or that, but it's a combination of all of those as we're moving this program along. And can we sustain it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as we invest in it? Can we sustain it and keep it going long range? And that's where, we looked at that, and we're not sure how that would look 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or if it could be continued. That's what I have. I will hand the microphone to whoever wants to speak, and I will listen and try to respond as we can. We may have the answer for you. We may have to look for one. Okay? And I'll just pass the microphone around.
I can try to be heard this way. I'm pretty loud. My first question is, in my discussions with Codeville, they seem very anxious to actually help. So I'm wondering who at Codeville you've been in touch with and what supports they
I've worked more through Ms. Nutt. She's the one that contacts them and works through them. Now, we did reach out to Michelle Brown for some information, but I mean, we're getting, I think, the help that we can get. We're getting the part of the grant and all of that. I'm not sure.
Well, she had indicated that they're willing to work with us on administrative load issues, but they need to know the issues in order to offer solutions.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Jared Walter, Allen, Lincoln Parish News Online. During these discussions that you had with your staff for options and stuff, did you reach out to any of the parents of these kids and get their input? And if you did, why did you?
We did not. I mean, we met with principals and talked to them, that the ones that were here, the one that was here, the ones they're going to. Then we looked at the other schools and reached out to them to make a decision and see what we thought would be best as a whole district. And you're right, maybe we should have reached out to them.
When we joined the program in 2019, Mr. Milstead was the current superintendent and did a parent meeting in front of our group and guaranteed our kids this program is free. I would like to know how that decision was made to void a contract, because that is a verbal contract between the superintendent and the student that saying that this is what's going to happen. So how is it that you can come in, not even a year later, or a year later, and take it all away? Was this not voted on? Was this not discussed on the school board at that time?
I worked at the school board office, yeah, I'm not a board member, but yeah. So when this was right.
Mr. Milstead can guarantee this to these families to the 5th grade, and then turn around and 2 years later it's gone.
I thought he did that 4 years ago, is that right? When it started?
2019.
Okay. I mean, I thought he did when it's,
5 years to the 5th grade.
okay, I understand, yes, ma'am. I mean, so I've read the contract. It also says that parents were going to all commit to their entire education to stay in it, and that's not been enforced either.
But that's not our fault.
I understand that. Well, I mean, it may be, right.
But I can make my example. I mean, my kids did virtual for a year to stay in the program.
I understand.
And we tried to stay in virtual for the beginning of this year and haven't been able to. We're not able to. So I thought we got January 1st.
Sure.
But this has all been through COVID. So you're talking about numbers that have fluctuated when every number in the schools fluctuates. When money is fluctuating, you have extra money from that. Yes, from different federal funds that aren't being spent. I just want to know how the contract, how can any superintendent looking at any group that wants to start a program and say, yes, we're behind you, we're guaranteed for so long, but then turn around and say, nobody's going to want to be involved. Can you explain that to me? Okay.
No, I can't. I mean, I didn't make that promise to begin with, and I do understand that. But I think,
Does your promise hold no weight? If you start a new program, or this all of this that you're doing with the state school board that you're putting together, if you make this promise to your constituents that this is what's going to go down, does your promise hold no weight either?
I think it does while I'm superintendent. I mean, I can't guarantee it when I leave, that someone would carry it on for sure. Yes, ma'am.
Are you from Louisiana, Mr. Stewart?
I am.
All right, then you should know our history, Louisiana Purchase, it sets us apart in speaking French. All the other states, they do Spanish. We need French that sets us apart as part of our heritage or our background. That's why French is not French.
Okay. Okay.
If you're from the state, you should know that.
My question to you is, at the beginning, you said that with the whole us finding out that it happens. I have a problem with it because that shouldn't happen. I had a situation where my daughter fell asleep on the school bus. I called the school board because nobody called me. The secretary told me that the transportation would call me back because it happens. That's not okay. We're supposed to trust you with our children, and it just happens that that's not okay. Then there has to be some type of communication, some type of resolution where y'all communicate with the parents. This program means everything to these children. It's more than us being here, it's these little kids. And I feel like there is no trust as far as parents because y'all are doing what you're supposed to do when it comes to this. Just what I think.
Okay.
You're breaking their hearts by taking us away. This is one good.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about the numbers that you were mentioning earlier. You were talking about the number of children in each cohort, and you used the term original numbers and the numbers that were added. My question is, were the original numbers we're talking about the numbers when they were at LPAC?
Yes, sir.
And the numbers that got added were added in kindergarten?
Correct. Some in kindergarten, some in first grade, depending on what grade they're in now. Yes, sir.
Well, the program started in LPAC, but as far as Lincoln Parish School Boards is concerned, the program was K to fifth grade, because that's a separate entity, right?
Right.
So how many of the
I mean,
numbers
well-
that originally started in kindergarten
I mean,
are currently
well, LPEC falls under us.
Kind of.
Well, LPEC does fall under us. It's funded through us, through the school board, through the general fund, through 8G grants, through those start. Now, Head Start is something different. That's not us.
so, but some of the children don't attend LPAC.
Right, I understand.
So they would come in initially into the program anyway.
Right.
In kindergarten. So is that,
I mean, I guess the concern is,
like those numbers are slightly misrepresentative of the actual number of original people, because the ones who didn't do LPAC, but entered into Prince Immersion as soon as they entered kindergarten, then they would be part of the.
yeah, I think more the concern is those that started in LPEC that are not in it now, that have dropped out.
But we also had to post it. And we also
I understand.
had no support from the school board. Y'all can't post it on the website. So no parents are aware that this is even a program unless it's from our mouths. Y'all done nothing to support this program. Nothing.
Okay.
What was something that you learned from the packets that were handed out Monday night about our program that you did not know beforehand? What was something that you learned?
I mean, I've learned what each one of you, the strong feelings you have about it. I learned some of the passion you have and some of the reasons you have them in there, different parents that put things in there. I'm going to say that I don't think it's a bad program. I agree, it's a good program. It's a program that can help kids. Is it the best program we can do to help all of our kids in this parish? And I'm not sure if we can find a better way to service more kids or to do more with that.
I just want to jump in here just quickly and back up about 4 steps and say, thank you for calling this meeting immediately when this came to your attention. I think this is wonderful, us all going to get in this audience, and we get to exchange and learn what the reasons were. I will also say that we were really caught off guard, and that is contributing to all of the emotion in the room right now.
Yes.
We felt like we were a little bit pressed, not just with the upcoming December board meeting, but also with what we understand to be a real timeline when it comes to our actual ability to save this program. But I think it's clear that everybody in this room wants to save this program. Okay? In terms of my question for you, I would echo Kelly's sentiment there in terms of kind of what was undergirding her question. I am wondering just how much you and the board members do know about the benefits, the deep, long-lasting benefits that sustain a community, not just our 66 kids or whatever the number is right now, but if this is given the opportunity to flourish, I mean, it really will uplift our schools in ways that I think will probably work towards solving some of these issues that you've outlined for us. So let me ask a clear question. Have you looked at other models, or are you willing to look at other models of other parishes similar to ours who have concerns and community sizes similar to ours to see how they make immersion work? Because they do.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I did reach out to Lincoln Parish and talked to the superintendent, and I can't remember the guy's name that kind of heads their program up down there, and we had a conversation last week, or earlier this week, about that. And they've got some of the same concerns, some of the same issues, and they're in, I think they're in 5th grade right now with it, as they've moved along at 2 different schools. One school that's going fairly well, one it's not. And he and I talked about, some of the things they were doing. But I mean, I think part of the difference too is down there, and he explained this to me, they have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great, that speak French. They speak French in their homes. It's been a long history of what they've done in their homes the entire time. And they're still having a challenge of trying to keep enough kids in the program, especially because that's what he's expressed to me. As they got into third and fourth, they had many more dropping out of the program as they went along there. And a matter of fact, at one school, that's the parish, I think they've combined a fourth and a fifth grade that they teach together, just so that they can make the numbers work down there. Yes, I'm coming. Yeah.
Hold on. I just want to say, I took half a year in French in school,
Sure.
and then switched to a school that didn't offer French, they only offer Spanish.
Okay.
And I can only say bonjour and hola. Okay?
I understand, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it will not benefit these children, these kids.
Right.
And can I also request that the next time we send children that can read, because Ms. Hall and Madam Sarah and Madam Smith-Torrance and Madam Nolan have done amazing jobs. My child can read.
Sure.
My grandchild, excuse me.
Right.
Grandchild can read. Please seal the envelope. Don't send it to the newspaper.
Okay. Understand. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to come back.
The first thing I wanted to address was your conversation about the finances and the $2,500 per child that is most of you. And I'm aware that you receive that MFP money per child, somewhere around the figure of $10,000 per kid, depending on the parish. I know, and I don't know exactly what yours is. But isn't it similar to in high school where you have children that are in robotics, and that's a limited number of kids? That you offer a very expensive program and something similar for a very limited number of kids that takes a lot of their MFP money away, but it's worth it because you get that interest inventory on your SPS scores for that school, which you're getting for this program at this school for a limited number. Why are these kids that are younger not worth it? That's my first question I want to ask the next one before I move on. Would you consider doing a multitude of things before you cut this program? One being advertise the program because my children work. The only reason I knew about it is because a friend's kids were in it, and I actually didn't know they joined late in the year and were transferred over. One of my children hated school, hated reading, hated everything because she's lived during COVID. She's never had a consistent year. She went from reading on the middle of kindergarten level to now on the first grade level in 3 months because language was unloaded in her brain. It doesn't matter what way it's unloaded in their brain, it works. They learn. Thirdly, you're pushing the STEM program, which is nationwide. Louisiana Tech's mastered that. But our world is smaller than it's ever been. More people need to know more languages than ever in the past. And we're cutting a language to make our children fluent. Why? Because not everybody's going to do science. Some kids are going to do English and history. Why push them down now when they've already started? There's 3 questions.
Yeah, we get all of them. Okay, so it's a little bit different at the high school. So when we offer a class, it's a teacher teaching it for 1 hour, and then they teach some other classes throughout the day. So it's, we may.
Also, Project Lead the Way teacher. Did y'all get the grant for that?
We did.
Okay, so that's not enough money coming from our kids either.
Correct.
Or anybody else if they go to that program. So
Right.
the same thing remains.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I may have a teacher teaching physics 4 hours of the day and then teaching a Project Lead the Way class. So it's only tying that teacher up one class, and there's 20 or 25 in there, just like there is in English, math, science, all those classes throughout the day. And then we do one in the freshman level, which has 20 or 25 in it, and then that teacher teaches some science the rest of the day. So, I mean, it's a little bit different in high school because we have different pathways that we're trying to offer, that we're required to offer.
My point is there's special programs all over the place for
There is.
number of children.
Sure, I understand that, yeah. But I'm not trying to deny anybody. I'm trying to figure out how we can do this and include more kids parish-wide in it. So, okay, I got you. Okay.
It's not on your website.
Right. Okay.
It's never been there.
It's never been on, it's on LTAC now.
When you register your kids for school, it's not an option.
That was my question was, what has the school board done or the program director, like, what have we done to advertise this program? If enrollment is an issue and we do have people dropping out of the program, how have we tried to promote the program? The only reason I know a lot of people is word of mouth by parents, not by
Okay.
teachers. There are people that are in other regular classes here at this school that don't even know the program exists. And if it is that, then what are we going to do in the future to help grow it? A lot of us that started in pre-K, our child started in pre-K LK, and the only reason why we knew about it was the table at preschool roundup, which we know doesn't happen anymore due to COVID. So I think that we need to be diligent in pushing the program before we just say it failed because of numbers. It's been a weird year with COVID, and so we have to be creative. I think that this crowd speaks to what we're willing to put our hands on and get out there and promote the program. We're willing to help. We want to be a resource to you guys, but we need to meet halfway. So
Sure.
if it's promoting the program that you need help with, that the school board needs help with, that Ms. Nutt needs help with, let us help you with that. But we need to have a plan in place for it.
Okay.
Thank you for letting us know.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Would you be open to having a focus with parents to meet with your central office staff to see the cost of you expanding the program? I understand what you said about trying to put, staff and kids. I get that. But if you expand and get to a number to where you're going to work, would you be open to that because it's going to be an additional cost. Now, I went to the other night and it says something about a credit balance for the French immersion. I don't know what that is.
A what now?
The credit balance. The finance officer said that for French immersion, there was a credit balance, and there were those two words. I look at credit as positive. I don't know. It could be negative, I don't know. But if there seems to be that this program is not costing enough to where it's pulling so much from the district to where the district runs into a deficit.
Right.
So you may want to get a focus with parents,
Sure.
with the staff, and your administrator here, and try to expand. Because I think your numbers are going to make scheduling hard.
Right.
Not to schedule everything.
Right.
So maybe would you be open to that?
Right, and I think I am. I mean, I think Ms. Nutt and I both had a conversation last spring about trying to get 40 in a class, and that was part of what we were trying to do. And I understand we could promote it. I get that part, that we haven't done a good job with that. Ms. Nutt and I had that discussion today about that too. So, gotcha. Yes.
First, I would just like to say, I appreciate you for being here, and hearing everybody. I couldn't imagine being a superintendent of anything and, just taking time out of it.
It's a fun job.
Sure. You mentioned keeping the kids that are already enrolled, just finishing them out, and I guess just kind of phasing the program out. Do I want the program phased out? Not at all. I think it's good for all kids that can be in it. But I also think it's super unfair for the kids that have started to just be stripped away. So you guys did have that conversation. What exactly was said? When I was in college, my major, they were actually in the process of phasing it out. But the people that were already in the major, they didn't just, stop and say, okay, this major is null and void, now switch over to something else. We were able to finish it, they just phased it out at the time. So when you guys discussed that, what did you come up with in this?
Part of the issue with trying to phase it out, I've just learned recently some more. If we're going to phase it out, then Codafil will not fund us and those teachers. So they won't. If we try to phase it out, I mean, that's, Ms. Nutt just shared that today with me. I thought we could do that, but really that's not an option with Codafil.
Well, what can we do as parents? To keep this program going? What resources would you need for us? What would you need coming from us? Because I'm not just about talking. If I want something done, I don't mind taking action for it also,
Yeah.
So what can we do to assist you in keeping it going as parents?
I mean, I think if we're going to continue it, we've got to figure out how to grow the numbers.
Yeah, like they
And
said,
how to
it
keep
wasn't
it,
really advertised.
and how to keep it, I understand that, yeah. And how to sustain people staying in it and making sure that we're getting everything educational that those kids need, whether it be in French, English, math, science, social studies. And I know there's research out there that shows some scores increasing and all of that. I do get that. I think some of that is good research. I think some of that, by looking in this room right here, some of your kids' success is because you're involved in their education and you're making sure that they're getting those things. I mean, to me, there's a couple of things that make a kid's education good. Is one is a good teacher, a good school, and parent support of that kid when they come home every day.